Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks, we are back, and we've got a great one for you. Well, we say that all the time, I know, but we're going back to the Tom Baker era. We're going back to the Doctor and Romana and K9 in The Creature from the Pit. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this. I'm actually surprised we have not done this one yet, and because we've done a ton of Tom Baker, and it's now getting to the point where it's almost like picking and everything. The joy of not doing things in order, but wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, as we like to say. When on Earth Station Who have we ever not, done things in order? So, because that means we would have had to done Trial of a Time Lord a long time ago, and I think
we just can't do that.
So we've got a great crew to talk about this episode tonight. Of course, welcoming back Mr. Howdy himself, Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
Good to have you back, sir. You were missed at Pensacon.
I missed going. It looks like you guys had a lot of fun.
Oh, we did. And thanks to everyone who participated in our panel. And that actually was our last episode. So if you haven't heard the last one, it was, I think, episode 346, and it was a great time talking all about what folks want from Doctor Who. We met some amazing people, had a great conversation, and we had standing room only in that room, so it was pretty awesome. And the lady who participated in it with me, of course, Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hi everybody, it is fantastic to be here.
And glad you survived the con, and you didn't get con cred or anything.
I did not get con cred, amazingly enough.
I know a few folks who did, and but Pensacon, thumbs up once again, 2 years in a row, and
very fun.
I can honestly say we've been invited back already for year 3.
Yeah, nice. Totally worth it. Such a good con.
It is. It's slowly becoming one of my favorites, and it's the beach. Come on, it's at the ocean.
Even if you hit the con, go to the beach.
Exactly. How bad could it be? Waking up every morning and hearing the waves. So, and I don't mean Katrina and the waves. So, I'm dating
walking on sunshine, baby.
Bingo. And joining us once again, it's been a little bit since the giggle. Let's welcome Kirby Bartlett-Sloan.
Hello.
It's good to have you back, my friend.
It's great to be back.
So let's, everyone we met at Pensacon, if you're new to the show, we're fairly laid back here, as you found out through our panel. And those who've been listening forever, thank you guys so much for continuing to listen and keeping us in the top 10 over on Good Pods. You got a new notification. We are in the top 10 of Doctor Who podcasts. So, yay us. So,
wow, awesome.
It just shows that people are listening.
Well, how many Doctor Who podcasts are there nowadays? It used to be like hundreds.
10.
Don't take this away from us, Kirby.
There's 10 and we're number 10.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're silly enough to keep going, and everything. So, it's funny because some of the podcasts I know, Doctor Who wise, they just go on hiatus when there isn't new episodes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't build an audience that way. You don't build a following. And that's why us here, and it's basically, we're here to just, enjoy. And there's so much Doctor Who stuff to enjoy out there. So we've got a lot of great things coming up, including, a couple more big finish before the new series comes up. We got a couple, classic series and some new series. So it's going to be a ton of fun to do. So we should have a blast. And of course, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at Earth Station Who is the best way to do it. But also you can find us up on Instagram. You can find us up on YouTube. And of course, as always, Facebook. I'm also playing with a couple ideas of some of these other, non-X ways of social media.
Yeah.
Because,
non-evil ways.
Exactly. We don't want to go to the evil empire. And I don't mean Disney, so it's okay. But It's going to be a lot of fun. But we got a lot of news to hit, and we got some big stuff. We finally got a release date for Doctor Who.
Woo!
Yay! Finally. So we have Doctor Who. It is now coming back. You ready for this, folks? The first episode of Doctor Who will be on depending where you live, it is going to be the 10th of May.
Or the 11th.
Or the 11th. It depends where you're at. Because I think it's supposed to be released on iPlayer at midnight in the UK.
Correct.
Yes.
And then it's later the day, it's going to be on BBC and it's going to be on Disney Plus and everywhere else. Is from
It's going to be on Disney Plus at midnight also.
On
just
Eastern?
I thought it was going to be on at 7 p.m.
No, it is. Yeah, 7 midnight. In other words, it's not later. The way you worded that, it sounded like you said it was going to come out later on Disney Plus.
Well, and that's what, that's the funny thing about it. The article was very vague about how they're doing it. So.
Oh, no, they've confirmed. It's coming out at midnight in the UK and coming out at 7 Eastern time.
So technically we're getting it earlier than the folks in England.
Right. Which
wibbly wobbly.
England are not happy
same time.
Yeah.
Right. But they're getting it earlier on iPlayer.
Correct.
So are they?
No, they're not.
No.
I thought he said. I thought he said it was
at the same time.
Yeah,
everywhere.
iPlayer's midnight. So it's
So if iPlayer's midnight, and then that's earlier than us.
Then we get it at what is midnight in the UK.
Because we're
released at the same time.
We're 6 hours ahead of the UK of England.
And then they will be shown on BBC One.
Daylight savings, whatever.
The 11th at like 8 o'clock at night or something.
Right.
And then it's on iPlayer after that?
No.
I'm confused.
iPlayer.
I am not the only one here.
See, so if iPlayer is getting it before it airs on BBC.
Correct.
That's what I asked. That's what I meant.
Yes.
So I can imagine people in Britain shouldn't be happy about that either. Like it should air, and so I would imagine like it should be on BBC first, right, and then go to everything.
Right. Yes.
But they're not doing that.
Because a lot of the British are kind of angry because they'd have to watch starting at midnight. And they'll be up for 2 hours.
I'm really surprised the BBC. The BBC must be getting paid because I can't. That surprises me that they would allow that. So,
but then we are getting it at 7 o'clock, and we can watch a nice chunk of 2 hours.
We are actually getting it on May 10th when they're getting it 11th.
Exactly. So basically, when you wish upon a star is paying the bills, a lot of it. So. Maybe that's part of the reason.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same time everywhere. It's just that it's in prime time for us and at midnight for
at
them.
The crack of dawn.
Yeah. Well, not even dawn.
Not even.
Yeah.
The witching hour. That's it. The witching hour.
So.
And the other thing is,
and it used to be us that got. It used to be on in prime time in the UK, and then we would get it whenever.
We would get it like 2 p.m. or something.
Yeah. But now they've shifted it so that it's more in the US's favor than the UK's favor.
Back in the day, we used to get it like a week after.
Well, we were lucky to get it at all, and really back in the day.
When the new series came on, we didn't get it for like 6 months.
That's right.
And then it was on sci-fi or sci-fi, as we like to call it, and so it's pretty crazy what you're getting, and compared to what it used to be, it's great, but I don't think they should be screwing the UK folks, on this. I think they should be, the UK should, and I'm not, Anglophile or anything, but I think, they should be having Doctor Who at a prime time in the UK first, and then the rest of us, because that's the main audience.
Yeah, but when you it's not. I mean, it's the same company, right? BBC owns the iPlayer, so they're just trying to get people to buy, to subscribe to that. So it's all money for them. And so they still work out. Disney is the rest of the world, but as far as the BBC is concerned, if they have an incentive for people to buy, or subscribe to the iPlayer and pay for that, then they'll use that, I'm sure. I'm I don't know what the deal is with the other programs there, if they've already done this with other programs, or if Doctor Who's unusual in this case, but I would imagine it's just.
I think they have done it with some other programs.
Yeah, I imagine it's just for the BBC, it's just like, it's just a way to get more money from people. So.
The unusual thing is the fact that since it's Disney Plus as well, that's confusing things and it's different.
Yeah, well, that's why people are in the UK, or not everyone, but some people in the UK are angry about it because they feel like it's Disney Plus's influence, it's the US market's influence. That is the reason why the BBC decided to do that.
Yeah, I doubt that's the case. I mean, if BBC is saying we're going to show it, you can watch it on the iPlayer before it airs on regular BBC One, then the BBC's doing it, and they would have done that anyway.
See, now I have to say, like, for super fans like us, if we're in the UK, we would be watching it at midnight.
Yeah,
yeah. We would have iPlayer.
We wouldn't wait anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, also, this is going to be more for the haters to go, Doctor Who's ratings are, tanking because they're being shown late, in the UK. It's like whatever.
No, you can watch it anytime on iPlayer, right?
Yeah. And the ratings thing, I mean, I don't know how BBC's treating the iPlayer, but if they're anything like the streaming services here in this country, good luck figuring out who's watching what, because unless they want to tell you, you will never know.
No,
like we have no idea how well Disney Doctor Who's doing on Disney.
No,
Disney is never going to tell us. They have released iPlayer stats, but Disney's never going to tell us.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's like, we know it's less than something like Netflix or whatever, but we don't know. We won't know. So, it's just one of those things. I think, it just seems like it should be the BBC first and foremost. And what we've been told so far from this arrangement, and it's that it's always BBC first. BBC shows the confidentials or the making of the special programming, whatever. We don't get that. BBC iPlayer has all this other stuff with Doctor Who. We don't get that. Like, we have been, anybody who's complaining that we're getting to see the episode first, like, we don't get anything else. Like Disney doesn't do anything else. They just air the episode, and that's about it.
That happened for the 60th. We don't know what's going to happen when season 1 actually starts, though.
Well, so far, yeah.
Also, after 2 months, we run out of episodes, and hopefully they'll do more Whovian stuff.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that, but the way things are going with Disney right now, I don't trust them to do a lot. So.
Actually, that's a good question. When the spinoffs, because I'm sure that there are going to be spinoffs.
Oh yeah,
come out. Are they going to be on Disney Plus?
I hope so.
I think so. I think so. I don't know specifically what arrangements Russell T has with them, but I would imagine if it's an actual spin-off series, then yes. But a lot of this other content that he's doing so far has not been.
Right.
Disney,
all the extra behind the scenes content has not been.
Right.
Those and the Tales from the TARDIS.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Though they did release those on YouTube.
Exactly. And they were fun.
They released them officially?
I don't.
I thought they were just.
I thought they were just
on.
Oh, you know what?
I don't think they released them on.
You're right. You're right. They did. You're right. It wasn't official.
Yeah, and people took them. They excised the episode parts out and put new footage.
Yeah, because the Tales from TARDIS is fun, but they're intros and outros to the actual stories. So I don't know. It remains to be seen how invested Disney still is going to be in Doctor Who. It's still a wait and see. But the fact that we get it a little earlier, I mean, kind of, sort of, depending on where you are. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, and it depends on the time zone. I mean, if it's the same time everywhere on Disney Plus, does that mean that, our good friend in Australia is seeing it before we do?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think they see it later.
They're in the future, so no.
No.
In the future.
No, they have flying cars already in Australia.
Yeah, they are in the future, which means they'll see it after. No, wait.
Yeah.
But I will say for diehard fans, fans are like myself, especially, who just do not like spoilers. It is with the schedule being the way it is, there will be people who are watching it before we have access to it in the States. So the potential for spoilers is huge now.
Of
course. It was before, but it's even bigger now.
Of course. No, it totally makes sense.
So if something big does happen, it'll probably be leaked.
It's so impossible to avoid that now anyway.
No, exactly.
If you don't watch episodes right away, at the second you go on the internet.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely interesting. Going to be. We'll have to wait and see, folks. We can't. It's hurting our heads right now. It's math. It's timetables. It's time zones.
Timey-wimey.
Exactly. We don't have a whiteboard in here to be able to, just mock it up and say, well, if they have it here and they have it here. So I think it's the Canadian plot, truthfully, but that's a whole different story.
It usually is.
Exactly.
And as far as spoilers go, I remember there was one year that we were at Con K that I found out something about the episode that was good that we were going to see later. It was the
one with the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, Ice Warriors. Yeah. And I asked you, did you want to know? And you said, yeah.
Of course I want to know.
I didn't say yes.
No, I did. Inquiring minds were wondering, so.
Well, the interesting thing about that was that they got the actress who did what's the character's name? The green one-eyed creature. What's her name?
Oh, Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri, yeah. They got her to do it. That was what impressed me.
Wasn't she like something like 89 years old?
Yeah, something like that. It sounded exactly the same.
Yeah. Wow. So that was pretty awesome. So that was awesome. Other Doctor Who news. Let's get away from this other topic. We're already
talk about something we can all agree on and be excited about.
Yeah,
there's never any controversy about this guy.
Nope, not at all.
Definitely not. The Great Moff is coming back to Doctor Who. That's right. Stephen Moffat announced officially today that he is returning to write an episode of Doctor Who for season 14.
Does he give you a rehash of the same story over and over?
Wow,
Derby.
It didn't take long for Moffat bashing already.
Wow, that was 3 seconds
into the segment. Actually, I'm looking forward to it because some of the episodes that Moffat wrote before he became showrunner were some of the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some of the ones he wrote under RTD are the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Empty Child, Dr. Dances.
Yeah. Hell, River Song, Silence in the Library.
Yeah. Girl on the Fireplace.
Yeah, so I agree. He'll probably do fine because he's not going to be distracted by show running. He's not going to be distracted by Sherlock.
No, exactly. Or as he put it on social media today, there was begging, there was pleading, but finally Russell agreed to let me have another go. so long as I got out of his garden. Working with old friends and a brand new doctor, I couldn't be happier. So I'm looking forward to it. A lot of the rumor was going around originally was that he was going to be writing the Christmas episode this year.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been any confirmation if that was the case or if he's writing one for this season.
Yeah. They didn't really say.
Yeah. The only thing they said was that Julian Robinson is directing episodes of the new seasons, and one of those that she's directing is Moffat's.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool because she's a pretty good director, and then she said that Steven had given her some notes. She asked for some notes about a keyword to describe the overall tone, and the one word that he gave her was Hitchcock. And I'm like, okay, I'm really like triple sold now.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, because Moffat made you scared of everything when he was like, you can't look at a statue now without don't blink. You can't look at a gas mask with going, are you my mommy? So, and God, I won't even go into a library ever again, because I don't want a second shadow there. Come on.
And we also know that Millie's in it too, because he said it was great to work with Shooty and Millie. So
that's awesome. So I'm excited for it. I'm not one of those people who bash Chibnall. Oh, sorry, wrong person. 21 minutes and 57 seconds into the show. But yes, Moffat. I liked a lot of his era, but I think a lot of his era got messed up because of actors leaving the show and actors, extending their stay and everything. And he had a plot arc and stuff that he wanted. So
it was definitely slipping at the end there.
Yes, it was time. It was time.
I loved Moffat. I mean, I'm a total Moffat fangirl, as you guys know. So I cannot wait for this episode. I am so stoked.
Yeah, I'm right there with Mary. I'm a fangirl too.
Well, that's good. Nice.
Moffatier. I don't know. Moffat heads. Do we have a name? Is there a collective name for Moffat fans? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Moffats.
I realize everything. Not everything. He does is perfect, but I think the really great outweighs the
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
My little Moffat bashing there was really in jest. I'm looking forward to it.
That's cool.
Someone already said, "Oh, Moffat's coming back." Does that mean we might get River Song in that episode? So it's like, oh God, I just slammed my head when I heard that. So
Susan, the Ronnie,
yeah, exactly.
the Valyard.
Don't bring up that name. Do not bring up that name. So now that is pretty awesome news, though. So I think that's the big stuff that we've had. We've got some other great stuff coming up. We did get an announcement from Big Finish that the 9th Doctor is doing a episode with River Song.
Yes.
Yes. And so when that comes out, that will be on our schedule.
Yeah, we have to review that one.
Oh God, yes. That's going to be an interesting pair up. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to it.
I wonder if that means that she'll have teamed up with all of the incarnations up until, of course, Judy. Well, no, because she hasn't 13 either. So 13 and 14 and 15, I guess. So
no. And if anyone in the UK can let me know how we can get hold of the new version of the Great British Baking Show, Jodie is actually one of the contestants because it's the episodes that they do only in the UK for I think it's for charity for one of the cancer research and stuff. So it's like a celebrity Great British Bake Off, and she's participating in it. So I would love to see that. I know people are gonna go VPN, dude. That's all you have to do. And so I'm already expecting that. But yeah, please let us know, because I definitely would like to find that out. So, all right. Any other Who news anyone wants to talk about or anything before we get started? Okay.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Pretty big news, actually.
Actually, some very great news compared to what we've had over the last.
Compared to the crickets.
Yeah, exactly. This is pretty amazing. So, and as soon as we're done recording, something else big will be coming out.
Yep, it's almost guaranteed.
Oh yeah, that's normal for us. So it should be a ton of fun, though. All right, kids, let's jump in then for the episode. We are going back to the year 1979, from the 27th of October till November 17th. So at that time, I was years old, and I was still I was not even in, I don't think I was in junior high yet, even when this came out. So,
yeah, this was the year before I first saw Doctor Who.
really?
I don't think these made it to PBS until after I started watching.
Gotcha.
I think
you remember seeing this on PBS in 80 or 81.
I don't. It's really difficult for me to remember which episodes of Doctor Who I've seen back in those days. It was probably the late 70s, early 80s when I was watching on PBS in Boston, out of the station in Boston, and but I have vague memories of this one, particularly the scenes where the beginning where they're throwing people into the pit in the jungle, and that just really resonated with me. Like this seems like something that I'd seen early on. You'd think I'd remember some of the other imagery in this, but not so.
Certain things should have stood out.
Certain
yes.
things. Yeah. Well, should we just address? Should we just get it over with and address the
tentacle in the room,
the creature from the pit? I mean,
jump in with both feet on that one. Or
I have seen this one fairly. I have seen this one fairly recently, and I will say that. And actually, also, before we get to that, I do say that this is the only BBC audiobook that I have.
Really?
Yeah, I know that we talk about Big Finish all the time, but there's a huge number of BBC produced BBC audio books, and a lot of them are adaptations of, I guess, the Target novels of Doctor Who episodes. And this is the only one that I've heard, and that's the only one I possess. I don't know if you guys have any more of those or not, but I know we've never really talked about him much on this podcast. But but I a few years ago when I did my Tom Baker run through and watched every single story that he did, I remember watching this one, and I like the story overall. It's really a fun episode, but man, it has got I think to me the worst, like the worst creature monster effect, whatever you want to call it, that they've ever done.
Yeah,
and it's hard to. It's really difficult to get past that.
It is bad.
Very much so.
I mean, as soon as it comes right around the corner, you're like, oh, geez.
Oh, no. Yeah, which is funny because actually the sets and the costumes aren't bad in this one overall.
Exactly.
So it's like they just completely ran out of money when they got to the monster, because it ranks up there with one of the absolute worst effects of all time, if you can even call it an effect.
Yeah. I think it ranks up there really much with the bubble wrap from Ark in Space.
Actually, that's the one I was thinking of too, is the bubble wrap.
Hey, for the time, the bubble wrap was like something that people weren't used to, so you can at least give them that excuse. and part of me was kind of like, well, maybe they didn't know, but watching the behind the scenes, like the special on the DVD that I have, like they all knew quite well, like when they were like, they had made it, and then they were like, oh, this really doesn't look great. It really looks, because it doesn't just look bad. I mean, that's one thing. I can take it if it looks bad, right? or if it looks dopey or fake or whatever. But this looks just obscene, and there's no getting around it. And it's just kind of like, how did nobody not notice this? Like, how does this get by like everyone? And in the making of, they're like, oh well, by the time we realized what it looked like, it was too late. We couldn't we couldn't have time to make another one, so we just had to make do. Everybody was laughing at it when we were on set. But I don't understand how they could have still gone through with it, because it just looks terrible. I mean, from everything, it takes everything out of this story.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It's made worse when Tom starts interacting with it.
Oh God, yes. And don't tell me Tom doesn't know exactly what he's doing.
He knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's
having
like
the time of his
putting
life.
his mouth on it. He's kissing it. He's like, blowing on it. And I'm just like,
it's just going to make the tentacle larger.
I'm like, and this is not directed by some hack or anything. This is Christopher Barry, who's got a long history. Like, he's directed every single Doctor up to this point, at some story or another. And he's really good. He's directed some of the best stories that have ever been in Doctor Who. And like I said, even this story is pretty solid as it is, but you throw that in and it's just like, guys, what you guys totally really did drop the ball on this.
Yeah, they ruined it. They really kind of did.
The sets look great in this. The wolf weeds are fantastic.
Oh, the wolf weeds are cool.
Awesome.
Wolf weeds are very cool.
I mean, that's the same mechanism the BB-8 uses, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's a weight and a motor inside.
And it was a good way to, basically depower K9.
Yes.
Which had a new voice this episode too, which was really
I did not like the voice.
No.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was bad also.
One thing I had not realized is, David Brierley did K9's voice for this entire season. And he did K9's voice for the original recordings for Shada, which was at the end of the season. But then when they put Shada out with Tom Baker's extras on it, they got the regular voice back.
Oh, Leeson.
Yeah.
Leeson. Yeah, that didn't help.
No. It was funny. Judy walked in while I was watching it, and she was like, why is there a giant garbage bag that's glowing with a appendage on it?
Well, that is an accurate description.
No, it fit perfectly. And, and I just told her Doctor Who 70s. And she was like, oh, okay. And she walked out of the room, backing up slowly,
I mean, shame on the writers for writing something that, I mean, they know when they're writing it, like what the budget, what they're doing with they don't have an unlimited budget. So, shame on them for writing that. Although how it's written in the script is not really how it looks in the actual story that was filmed. And then shame on everybody in the tech group that created it. I mean, it is funny to listen to them talk about it.
Yeah.
Especially since it was a woman that was inside it, like doing all the puppetry of it and everything. And she's just like, I'm doing my thing, and I just hear laughing out there. Like, everybody's just laughing. And I mean, it's just, it's too bad, because I think it's a pretty fun story otherwise. As you guys said, the sets and the makeup and everything else, the costumes look great. The acting is pretty solid, I think, from most everybody. Like, I really liked some of the characters that are in there. And this is at the time when Douglas Adams is still story editor. So it's sprinkled with Douglas Adams type humor throughout. Whether or not he was directly responsible for it or not, it's there. And it's a lot of fun. Otherwise, it's not so bad. Like, you can kind of get past it after the first two episodes, because they really diminish, like, they really don't play it up the way they did in the first episode. Like, in the first episode, when you first see it, you're like, oh God, no.
Well, it was kind of interesting for the season too, because many folks know that Doctor Who a lot of time is the episodes are filmed out of order. And this was actually the first episode of the season to be filmed. And this was Lila's first episode as Romana to be filmed. And so it was interesting. She was wonderful in it. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't as wisecracking and as, hey, I'm as smart as the Doctor.
No, I was thinking her character was kind of, if you'll pardon the pun, green in this. Like it seemed like she didn't really have a lot of, and I was like, that's weird because this is her third. I think it's her third story.
Yeah, she doesn't do a lot in it, really.
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, she's solid and fun, but
yeah, I actually felt like her, and I don't blame her for this because I knew it was her first one filmed, but she just seemed more tentative, still getting her head around the character, which is perfectly understandable.
Especially if it was the first one filmed that she did.
Yeah.
Because she played the princess, the season before. And so
but I don't know if they softened her up writing wise, because her character is kind of hard in this one too. I mean, she seems so if you like Time Lord privileged, if you will, in this, like elitist. She seems like, she actually says things like, how dare you, I'm a Time Lord, and she looks at a lot of the people doing like around her, a lot of the other characters is just like beneath her.
When she's interacting with the bandits, I was actually kind of cringing a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And actually, this is the only story of her seasons where she calls herself a Time Lord instead of a Time Lady.
Interesting.
After, but of course, since we were exposed to these in a different order, we had already heard that.
Yes. Because it went the Dalek story, and then it was City of Death, I think.
City of Death is one right before this.
Exactly.
One of the greatest ones of all time.
One of the greatest, yes.
So, and then after this was Nightmare of Eden, I think. So
I'd have to.
It wasn't a bad story.
But
what I like about the first episode is that we get to see the stuntman Terry Walsh fall into the pit 3 times. he's in that first scene, and then he's the engineer or whatever, Doran, and then he's in Tom Baker's costume in the last scene of the first episode.
Oh, when he jumps in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Because it's funny because you actually get to see him on screen. You get to see his face.
Yeah.
Because there's been times you could tell it's him, especially when it was Pertwee fighting inside, back in the era. And then of course Tom also. So it was fun to see. And like you said, Mike, the characters were good. The sets were gorgeous. And
I really love Lady Adastra in this. I think she's just fun. She just chews up scenery, and
it's like Disney evil queen vibe.
Yes, she's got that kind of makeup thing going, and she's just when she's killed very early on, like she's killed in like episode, is it 3 or very early on in 4?
Very beginning of episode
very
4.
early on in 4.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, now what? And then kind of seems like there's about, I don't know, 15. The rest just seem like it's kind of tacked on at that point.
Yeah.
But because since she's not there, you really see like, oh well, this is it's really weakened because she's not there. Although I really liked
Corella.
She was great too. But I liked the guy who was in the pit.
Organon.
Yeah, he was fun too.
The astrologer.
The astrologer, yeah.
I thought he was really fun. Like there's a lot of really fun characters. This is a really like fun story.
And he was well known, by the way. Albert Baildon was well known before this because he played the title role of a children's show called Catweasel.
I did not know that.
No, I did not.
I never even heard of that show.
No. But I loved it.
You can find pieces of it, individual episodes out on YouTube, of course.
Of course. I loved it that, the Fourth Doctor asked him, So why are you down here? I predicted that someone would come from space and rescue us. And then he said, "Where are you from?" "I'm from space."
Tom is absolutely delightful in this one.
Yeah,
he's firing on all cylinders. He knows the thing. He's having fun. He's just being Tom.
Yes.
Now, speaking of characters being killed on Doctor Who, the actress who played Corella, Eileen Way, was the very first person to die in Doctor Who in the Caveman story.
Oh, she was the old mother.
The old mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize that you said that.
That's a cool piece of info.
And this part of trivia was brought to you by the 20 minute.
He brings us the Doctor Who trivia. He wins this round.
So there you go, folks. Ding, ding, ding. See, there's a reason Kirby's on the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
And there's a reason we have him here.
Trivia all the time. So that's awesome. It was good, and the chemistry between Romana and the Doctor was really good in this because it was still very early on. So I liked it a lot.
There's a line of dialogue that caught my ear because I got to rewind and be like, what did I just hear? Because she was, after they're reunited,
what for the garbage bags? No.
She says, "I was worried about you," and he says, "Oh, you shouldn't have been worried. Time Lords have 90 lives."
Yeah.
And she goes, "How many have you gone through then?" And he's like, "About 130."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Yep, that's how loose the whole Time Lord lives thing was."
There.
I had not even noticed that the last time I watched, and then I was watching the other night. I went, "What did he say?"
No, exactly. And then he was like going,
He didn't say 13.
He says he's 750 years old or so.
Yeah, she
says that. Yeah,
because he's elusive about all that. But then I think Romana says that he's over 700. Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay. So we have but of course,
she's barely 100. Romana's barely 100. She's a young
but she says that he is over
750. Yeah,
she's a youngin. Yeah, I did think that was a bit dismissive when the Doctor said, "No, she's not my commander. She's my companion," and I was like, the way you said that just makes her sound like not equal.
No.
Right.
But then again, it's Tom, so I wouldn't expect any less, really. But we're not getting she's my we're going from Sarah Jane, she's my best friend, to she's my companion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the throwaway line about the number of doctors there is a little odd because we'd already established the 13 by then.
Well, that's how much they cared about that.
Yeah, they didn't care.
And it probably was just something that that Tom's did. Who knows, right?
That was established in Deadly Assassin specifically because of the Master.
But he used up all his regenerations by that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
And he's still coming back. The rumors are that we're going to get the Master again.
Of course we're going to get the Master. You got the tooth with the
of course.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
it's been
the person floating off the edge of the Avengers Tower, right?
Right.
So yeah, overall I thought this was a great episode. The 4 episodes flew by really quickly.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. I mean, yes, the monster is terrible, but the story itself is actually pretty solid and enjoyable. Yeah, most of the acting is good. The bandits are just kind of there. I'm not sure.
The bandits were idiots.
How much they contributed. I mean, they really were just sort of comic relief, and which is fine.
They were there to get shot by K9. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they were entertaining. They weren't. Yeah, they were fun.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
What do you think of the ending? the sort of like let's wrap this star with
yeah, that was completely unbelievable and dumb. And also I kept wondering, where are you sending the star to?
Yeah.
I mean, is the next planet over? Are the next star system over going to get destroyed?
Well, I would imagine it's still going to be encased wherever it goes, right?
Yeah, that seems.
But still, I mean, if it's heading right at another solar system, then yeah, that's probably going to mean trouble for them.
But because Doctor Who cares, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we're throwing real science right out the window.
Away.
Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson was probably yanking his hair out as a kid watching this, No, that's not how it happens.
It was kind of up there with Superman flying backwards around the world.
Yeah.
With that.
And right about the same time period.
Yeah. But it was fine.
Because the creature arriving in an egg, that the egg was alive, that makes so much more sense than what we saw before at the end. Like the whole thing is really fantastic. And that's what I mean. I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind. I like hard science in Doctor Who, but I also like it when it just goes off the rails bonkers like this. I mean, that's one of the things that I think Douglas Adams really excels about. Like, he just brings like these bonkers stuff, and it just has fun with it rather than always having to establish two hard science rules. It is science fiction, yes, but it's also fantasy, and I like those elements.
Mm-hmm.
No, totally makes sense.
I agree.
Oh yes, but I did, roll my eyes at the end. Not as much as I rolled my eyes at the beginning, like when we saw the creature.
Yeah, I mean that to me is minor compared to the monster.
Yeah, I mean if you can get over that, then you can do it. I mean, you can take anything, really. But it's a tough one.
No, totally understand that. All right, folks, let's go ahead and rate this one. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Kirby, you got to go first tonight.
4.5. I really enjoyed this one. I was grinning from ear to ear, laughing, of course, with the monster itself.
Of
but
course.
I was watching it with my oldest daughter a couple of nights ago, and we were just having a grand old time with it because it's a lot of fun. And it looks good. And Tom Baker, of course, is my favorite Doctor. He was my first Doctor. And that I have to go with Lala as my favorite Romana. I know a lot of people like Mary Tam better, but she's my favorite Romana. K9 is just great. And it was a lot of fun. One thing I thought it was a little startling with watching it is how the huntsman, the guy who controls the wolfweeds. Yeah, the wolfweeds says nothing for 3 episodes. And then all he does is snap his whip, and then he sees
at the end.
Yeah. So that was a little odd.
I when she's first sort of, and I think it's the 3rd episode or whatever, when she says, like, when she calls him, my huntsman, I thought she said my husband, and I was like, what?
What?
I was like, this is the kind of relationship they have here, but this is the dynamic that's going on in this planet. But no, then I got it. Then I looked and I was like, oh, it's huntsman. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I was just like, weird.
So yeah, I'm going to stick with 4.5. I enjoyed the heck out of watching it the other night.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, Mary.
I'm going to give it a 4. I mean, I'll take a point off because of the monsters is realized absolutely terribly, but the story is really fun.
Yeah,
the acting's really fun. It didn't drag for me at all. I had a great time watching it. Just like Kirby said, my sister and I were watching it. We were having a great time, and it's totally enjoyable. And so, I mean, okay, it's a bad monster. That's not like the first time we've seen a bad monster in Doctor Who. So, and it's really fun seeing Tom Baker, interact with Lala Ward, and just, I mean, even K9 is fun in this. So yeah, and the wolf weeds. The only bad part was the wolf weeds get eaten in the end by the creature, and I like the wolf weeds.
That happened.
Yeah, the creatures lay on top of the bad guy, and the wolf weeds at the same time.
Yes,
and then it opens. It comes back up. Thank you. I haven't eaten in 15 years. It's like,
so yeah, I mean, and it's definitely, you can see Douglas Adams' influence in it, and that's fun too, seeing all the little humor touches.
Oh, very much.
So yeah, it's just tons of fun. So I think it's worth a 4.
Okay, Mikey.
It's really tough to separate. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, like, for story, character, fun, elements of fun, I agree that it's a 4. It's one that's fun to watch, especially if you watch with other people, because it's, you can MSD3K it. It's really fun, that kind of thing, especially with the monster. But from a production design, as far as Doctor Who monsters goes, Aratu gets a like half a star from me. Like, just that's it. Like, that's just because it's terrible, and I just don't understand. I mean, mistakes get made. I get it, but man, this is like the worst. And if you're going to show a new story of Doctor Who or a classic episode to a new Who fan or something like that, don't pick this one, because that will just shatter everything. That they won't be able to take it seriously. They'll think all of them are like this. I mean, we've had other episodes where the special effects haven't gone well. And I can usually get past it. I'm usually the guy that has more liberal about it than anybody, that I can get past stuff like that. But in this one, I just think it was just dumb.
Nope, totally understand.
So, Arado, half a star.
No, I think that's totally fair.
And that's being generous.
Totally understand that one. All right, I'm going to give my rating. I'm going to do 3.5. And the only reason it got knocked down from a 4 is the walking, glide bag in it. And it took me out of the story at times. And I really, really wanted to like it more. And I remember reading the book. I remember watching this as a kid on PBS and going, oh, wow, that's really bad. And now, and friends of mine used to tease me religiously about watching Doctor Who. Oh, you could see the zippers on the costume, or you could see the strings on the spaceships. And then watching this one made me have, PTSD, now I remember why, it was so bad back then. But, it was fun though. It was a good story. And I enjoyed Tom, and I enjoyed even K9. I didn't mind. He was blowing people away left and right. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
And this is, Lila was carrying him around for half the storyline. But, I need to conserve power. It's like so. But yeah, it's worth watching, folks. But don't take it seriously. And. Just, have a couple drinks in you if you can, if possible. That might help also. But, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at ourstationwho.com. That's the best way to, let us know what you guys think, or leave a review up on Facebook, or, wherever you listen to this. 5 stars is always the best way to do it. Up on Spotify, up on Apple, or now that we're up on, YouTube, thumbs up. That's the best way to do it for us and everything. That's how we know if you like it or not. So, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Kirby, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me back.
You want to promote your podcast that you appear on?
I'm one of the co-hosts for on the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast. We are currently continuing with the journey through every single episode of Doctor Who.
In order, too.
In order. And
that's right.
What did we just do? I'm trying to remember.
Was that memorable?
I'll let you know in a second when I bring up the database. I should have remembered. We're about to do I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. My favorite episode. Let's thank our regulars while Kirby's looking for that. Miss Mary, thank you so much as always.
Oh, thank you. I had a ton of fun with this one. It was a really cool, fun thing to watch.
Any artwork or anything you got going on you want to promote?
You can find my artwork at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
I hope we draw some kind of business to you with all the, all this and everything. So, hopefully, maybe, possibly.
You never know.
Exactly. And Mr. Mike, we've made it through another one.
We did, and as always, it's my pleasure, especially when we're, talking about the Fourth Doctor. Like Kirby said, Tom was my first, and I always enjoy watching him as the Doctor. So
awesome. Anything you got going on at the DragonCon report?
Yeah, well, we've recorded 2 episodes so far. We are going to be recording our 3rd episode, our March episode, within the week. So check that out. If you don't catch us live, because we always record it and live stream when we do so, you can always watch us on YouTube or listen to us via the ESO network.
Awesome.
I have an answer now.
What's your answer, Kirby? What is the newest episode?
We are going to be doing Dark Water and Death in Heaven, also known as Cyberbrig.
Everyone's favorite.
I don't know. He might be challenged.
He quit Doctor Who. What do you?
He might challenge Aratu for the worst character in Doctor Who ever.
I'm going with Cyberbrig as the worst one.
I think I'm with Mary on that one.
Wow.
Yeah, because even this wouldn't have not made me quit Doctor Who. Cyberbrig came very damn close.
Yeah, I was not happy.
No.
I mean, Dark Water, I didn't mind. It was Death in Heaven, which was the second one was worse than the first one. So
that Missy.
Exactly. That was the best part about that story. What do you mean? So, well, very awesome, folks. Thank you guys as always. If anyone wants to find me, of course, I'm doing the announcing for the Tales from Hollywoodland podcast. And we just put out our newest episode last week, and that was John Wayne and talking to his biographer on it. It was a ton of fun to do. And this next episode, we're going to be coming out right after this one comes out, because this comes out on Fridays, and the next episode of Tales from Hollywoodland is always released on Mondays, is going to be the Rat Pack in Las Vegas.
Awesome. That'll be a fun one.
So that's going to be a 10 fun episode to do. So check us out. We're part of the ESO network also on that one. So, and we got some other podcast news coming up soon, but I can't talk about it yet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So definitely check us out. And you know what? Thank you as always for listening. If you want to join our Patreon, it's at patreon.com/ESO network. Help support us. We would really appreciate it. Or if you want, just go to our TeePublic store or check us out up on Facebook, on Instagram, and, wherever other fine podcasts are found. We are there too. So until next time, my name is Mike Faber on behalf of myself, of course, Kirby, Mary, and Mr. Howdy himself, Mike Gordon. Thank you so much as always. We'll see you next time. Peace, and we are done.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.